Hello everyone, my name is Faith Lee. In this video, I will be diving deeper into the topic of my essay, Colonial Harm of Racism, Cultural Disruption, and Resilience. Before we begin, let's quickly review the book. Five Little Indians depicts the lives of 5 Indians, Clara, Kenny, Howie, Lucy, and Maisie, who went through the traumatic experience of the Canadian residential school. Some managed to escape, and some are released due to their age, but the impact of the cruel experience at the school is the same. By depicting the different lives that each character lives, the book demonstrates how the residential school's traumatic experience can make one commit suicide, drift away from the family and culture, or develop habits that aren't the best. The book shows the suffering and injustice Canada inflicted on thousands of children, their families, communities, and nations, and honors the strength and courage of those who never deserved the pain. Topic 1. Racism, within the framework of post-colonial theory, is understood as a systemic and institutionalized form of oppression that perpetuates the superiority of the white culture over the Indians. It manifests through Eurocentrism, prioritizes European values, norms, and aesthetics, while devaluing and marginalizing indigenous cultures. Michelle Good shows the seriousness of racism throughout her story in phrases such as, "I don't know what you think you're trying to prove. You Indian chicks are good at 2 things and both happen in motel rooms." And, "I heard all you Indian chicks were easy," are some examples. The book emphasizes that racism operates as a mechanism of control, maintaining colonial hierarchies by enforcing racial stereotypes and discriminatory practices that sustain white privilege in the social, economic, and political subjugation of colonized peoples. The residential school system exemplifies this, as it was designed to forcibly assimilate indigenous people into Eurocentric norms, erasing their cultural identities and severing their ties to their heritage. This brutal practice inflicted profound trauma on indigenous communities, perpetuating a legacy of cultural genocide and reinforcing the dehumanization central to colonialist ideologies. Topic 2. The colonial system of the residential school severely disrupted survivors' connections to their indigenous culture and identity. These schools were instruments of cultural hegemony, aiming to assimilate indigenous children into Eurocentric norms by erasing their native languages, traditions, and beliefs. This process is reflective of social Darwinism and the white man's burden, which are ideologies that justify the superiority of the colonizers and the inferiority of the colonized, promoting the notion that indigenous cultures needed to be civilized. In the book, 2 survivors, Kenny and Maisie, are able to return to their families. However, they feel that something has changed, and it doesn't feel like their home anymore. "No matter how hard I tried, this place, their house, was no longer home, and these people, though kind and loving, were like strangers pretending to be family." This was because over the years they were taken, their families also went through hard times, which made them to change, and this serves as an explanation that by removing the children from their communities and subjecting them to dehumanizing conditions, residential schools disrupted the transmission of cultural knowledge and practices, creating generations of individuals who were estranged from their heritage. The book emphasizes that trauma inflicted by residential schools is not just personal but collective, embedding itself in the cultural memories of indigenous communities. The survivors' struggle to reconnect with their culture and identity is a testament to the resilience and resistance central to post-colonial theory. This highlights the enduring impacts of colonial oppression and the ongoing fight for decolonization and cultural reclamation. Topic 3. The character's development of self-defense in the narrative serves as a potent form of resistance to ongoing colonial oppression. In the story's context, the characters' acts of self-defense are not merely physical, but symbolic. These acts represent a rejection of the internalized inferiority and passivity that colonial ideologies aim to instill in the colonized. This is shown when Maisie says, "I wound up as I was gonna punch him, and when he pulled his hands up to protect his face, I kicked him square in the balls. You pig! Next time you want to hurt a kid, you come see me." She says this to protect Lucy, a younger Indian who is fresh to the outside city. By standing up for themselves and protecting each other, the characters assert their agency and reclaim their dignity, challenging the colonial attempt that seeks to dehumanize and subjugate them. Additionally, the characters adapt to the use of profanity and acting tough in the outside world because they realize that they need to protect themselves from white people who are very dangerous and racist toward Indians. Lucy was first depicted as a kind-hearted and innocent person. However, she later shows harsh attitudes, both because of the feeling of freedom it gives her and to protect herself. The self-defense actions of the characters, such as standing up to physical threats and asserting their dignity in the face of racial slurs and stereotypes, reveals the psychological and emotional toll of living under a system that constantly devalues your humanity. Through these vivid depictions, Michelle Good's Five Little Indians reveals the profound and lasting harm caused by colonialist ideologies. The narrative not only documents the personal and collective traumas of Indigenous people, but also highlights their strength, resilience, and enduring fight for justice and cultural survival. Thank you for listening.